All right. So let us continue from where we stopped last lecture. Just hold on. Let me put on my video also. Okay. So integrity and objectivity. We understood integrity. It is talking about the honesty of an auditor, and whenever he is conducting audit, he's supposed to keep the objective of audit in mind. Independence, we understood this as an auditor should be an external person. He should not be related to the company, and he should not work according to the whims and fancies of the management. He should not come under influence of the management. Confidentiality, it's not talking about the level of confidence which the auditor has during the conduct of audit. It is talking about keeping the information confidential when he is gathering information at the time of audit. So during the course of audit, he might come across many secret formulas, information of the company, which he should keep to himself only. But there were two exceptions to this rule, confidentiality rule. Exception number one, anyone would like to add? What was the two exceptions, please? What are the two exceptions to the rule of confidentiality? Yes?
Ma'am, those news if you are asked by the court.
Come again.
Ma'am, if it is asked by the court.
If it is asked by the court, you'll have to you'll have to disclose the information. Correct, Kalindi? And Pratik is writing and permission given by owners. Perfect. So these are the two exceptional situations under which the rule of confidentiality will not be applicable. I can disclose the confidential information if it is asked by the court because it is compulsory. At that time, I cannot hide. Even if it is a secret information, I can disclose it. And when permission is taken from the company, because information pertains to company, if you have taken permission from the company itself, in that case, you can disclose even the confidential information to others. Permission should be obtained. Okay, coming back, skills and competence. Here, skills are the minimum skill sets which are required by the auditors. They are practicing chartered accountants. So auditor should be a CA. He should have cleared all the exams of CA. And he should be practicing chartered accountant. He should have certificate of practice. Without that, he can't start his practice. And he should be competent in the market. He should update himself regularly by reading newspapers, articles. He should join some accounting associations. He should deliver lectures, attend webinars, seminars, and update his knowledge on regular basis. Otherwise, he will not be competent in the market. Audit planning. Without planning, an auditor can never conduct the audit because at the end of the year, generally the audit takes place and he will have lots of assignments. He will have at a time 10, 20 assignments going on together. So if I'm not planning it properly, I may not complete the work on time. So audit planning is essential in order to ensure that you are covering all the areas, important areas of the company, and you're completing the task within the specified time limit. So we do planning, we all do planning. Planning is required so that we don't miss on any area. If I don't plan, I will not come to know what are the important areas. I'll keep wasting my time on unnecessary things which are not required. So planning is mandatory before you start the audit. So auditor will get an understanding of the company based on the complexity of the company. He will plan the audit stepwise. He will find a start time. He will decide a end time. He will find out even what are the various areas which he will be auditing. Does he need an expert's advice? Then he will also find out what is the HR requirement. He will place his manpower also according to the need of the company. Audit is generally conducted to give opinion. We all know the primary objective of audit is to express an opinion. This opinion is on the true and fair view of financial statements of the company. So when I'm expressing opinion on the financial statements, I need to collect evidences at every stage. So audit evidence, it is a proof or evidence which the auditor is collecting in order to base his opinion. See, whenever you're giving any opinion, you should have some evidence to it. You should have some base to it. So you're collecting evidences. There are various methods and there are various types of evidences which are available. Broadly, we will categorize the evidences under 4 categories. External evidence, external to internal evidence, internal to external evidence, and internal evidence, pure internal evidence. So let me explain all these 4 evidences to you. Then you can maybe decide which one is the best evidence. At a given point of time, auditor may have multiple evidences to check the same transaction. It is always said that external evidence is the best evidence. Why? Because it has come from an external party. It has come from outside the company. So please, if you want, you can make a note of this. External evidence is the best. If that is not available, the auditor will look for external to internal evidence. Even if this is not available, auditor will look for internal to external evidences. And when all these 3 evidences are not available, not possible, then the auditor will finally look for pure internal evidences. Let me give an example of pure external evidence. External evidence is not touching the internal people. It is directly coming from a third party. For example, data's confirmation. Sales book shows that there is a data to whom the company has sold goods worth rupees 10 lakh. You want to confirm whether this figure is right or not. So you can go for a pure external evidence, directly confirm from the data that whether this 10 lakh amount which is reflecting in books is correct or not. So this is a pure external evidence where companies, management, employee, worker, no one is involved. You are directly talking to the external person. So this is the best and the most reliable evidence. Now to check the same sales, I have another option also, external to internal evidence as well. Right? And I have internal to external evidences. Some examples I'll quote here. What are external to internal evidences? These are given by the external people but maintained by the company. For example, purchase invoice. When you purchase goods, the creditor supplies you the invoice. Right? So it is an external party, creditor, or the one who is supplying you goods. Creditor is an external party. So he is giving you bill. And this bill is maintained by you internally in a file. So this is an example of external to internal evidence. It is coming from an external party but maintained by the internal people in the internal organization. Now, third category is internal to external. Bill is given by you but maintained by the data. Sales invoice. Example is sales invoice. You make the bill and one copy of that bill is given to the data. He is also having a file. He will maintain in his company. So both of you have the same document, but it is made by you. Sales invoice is made by you. So made by internal people, made by you, but maintained by an external. Last, fourth is the internal evidence. Now internal evidences, they are the least reliable because it is made by internal people. Possibility is there it can be manipulated, like vouchers for which bills are not available. So some vouchers which the company makes, they would be maintained by the company internally only, but this should not be checked alone because it is the least preferred evidence. So I hope you have understood audit evidence.